What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you a new rogue build. I think this one is substantially better than anything that I've played yet, and it does work for leveling. It has to do with the barrage skill, which I think since penetrating shot got nerfed, the crossbow got nerfed. I just think that for individual targeting, single target, and AoE targeting, that this is probably the best bet to go for. Right now I'm level 69 and I'm in the level 75 area. I'm going to show you guys what it can do, and we'll get into the gear and skill tree. Like I said, this is a leveling build for the most part. It does revolve around a couple aspects that you do need, but you can pick them up from your codex. So yeah, let's get into it real fast. I'll show you guys what it can do, and then we'll get into the details. It just obliterates everything. Full AoE, no problem. Delete. That was a shadow clone. It has to do with the tactics that I have, or one of the objects that I have. Everything else that I've played up until this point is quite safe. Can't squish and lift off. But you can see that I'm able to stand, not toe-to-toe with everything, but be able to not get one shot, two shot, Malthus right there. Not a bad build at all. I think this is by far the fastest build that I've seen. I mean, penetrating shot was great for screen clearing, but it's just not the same since the nerf. I feel like this is not bad at all. It's survivable. This is hardcore, so that's where survivability really matters. Not only that, the damage is, I wouldn't say astonishing, but it is not bad. It's very good. All in all, I think it's a very well-rounded build that will have no problem clearing higher content. I mean, in hardcore, normally I don't partake in events higher levels than me. Unless I'm, on a level 100 doing no dungeons. Once I'm fully optimized and fully geared. I'm not fully optimized, I'm not fully still level. It's a really but you get the gist of it. It's had no problem in so far. Make one more round, and then I'll get into the skill tree, and I'll get into the aspects. Take a look at everything from there. Is you're not up close and personal. You can be if you want to do a single target shotgun to have your barrage hit, you know, everything, but you don't have to be. You can definitely do it from range, and still you're not bad at all.
Need more time.
You got multiple ways. You have concealment, which I would use if you're in a elite or boss type situation. Got a pack of elites, because we do reset our concealment cooldown instantly whenever we kill an elite. But it also helps with damage on bosses. Not only that, you get resistances every time you break concealment. You're capping off the resistances. If you're resistance capped, you'll go up to 80. So it definitely helps. But then you also have your shadow step. Multiple ways to break CC. And then for maneuverability, you have, of course, dash. Somewhat of a staple in every build. We are using combo points. We do have condemnation, which is a unique that it helps tremendously. It's not required, but it does help with your combo point. You have a chance on hit to generate 3 combo points when you attack with a basic skill. So it just helps you generate combo points faster. But it's not by any means required. Rogues have fast enough attack speeds where you're going to generate the combo points, get your rotation down to 3 punctures, 1 barrage, 3 punctures, 1 barrage. Or do, you know, 3 punctures, shadow imbuement, and then barrage. If you're on a boss or a pack of elites, 3 puncture, shadow imbuement, conceal, and then shotgun with barrage. And it's just going to obliterate anything in front of it. So yeah, that's the build, guys. Let's get into some of the aspects that we have, some of the gear, and then I'll go through the skill tree. Alright, so for our head, nothing spectacular. Like I said, it's not by any means a perfectly rolled helm. It's not all the way optimized. But we are dealing direct damage to a vulnerable enemy. Has up to a 35% chance to daze them for 2 seconds. So we're going with manglers on that. Resistant on our chest piece. This is what I was talking about, that is going to allow you to pretty much instantly reset your concealment upon killing an elite enemy. It's also going to grant you 10 resistances and maximum resistances. So if you're capped at 70, or even if you're at 60, it's going to take you to 70, and it's going to raise your maximum to 80. But if you're at 70, it's going to raise that by 10 and give you 10. So your new res cap is going to be 80, and you're going to achieve res cap at 80, if that makes sense, for 4 seconds. And then you're also going to get the cooldown. Now this one's not a perfect roll, it's kind of a low roll, but it's going to reduce the cooldown of concealment by 6.5 seconds almost. So you're going to take it down to a 10-second cooldown. Now you kill multiple elites, and it's just going to reduce it almost instantly. For these gloves, not a lot of people use these, not for this build. They use just regular legendary gloves, lucky hit, attack speed, something with +4 barrage. But this gives you +5 ranks of all core skills. It spawns a shadow clone, which you guys saw at the beginning of the video, damaging a vulnerable enemy, which we almost always do, damage a vulnerable enemy. With a marksman or cutthroat skill, has a 24% chance to summon a shadow clone that mimics your attack. So you're getting the shadow clone there. You're spawning your shadow clone, 69.3% shadow clone damage. And then we have something that will complement that later. I'll show you. On the pants, we're doing a Juggernaut. I got Tri-Resist on the pants, 4 potion capacity, which I could probably re-roll the potion capacity. It's not necessary. But we do have the max roll on the Juggernaut, which is, if you're playing Rogue, it's absolutely necessary. I feel we're so squishy already. You're going to want Juggernaut on any piece or on any armor set that you can get it on. It makes a big difference. Okay, Shadow Step has an additional charge, so instead of 1 charge, you're getting 2 charges. Killing an enemy with Shadow Step refunds a charge and increases the damage of your next Shadow Step by 1% for 2 seconds, up to 5%. So you got a bunch of low life enemies, you can pretty much spam Shadow Step between them. On our bow, ideally this would be a Sky Hunter bow. I've yet to get one that's ancestral. I do have a sacred one, but right now this is the best option that I have. But if you have it, you want to go with the Sky Hunter bow. On this one, we're going with Vengeful, making an enemy vulnerable. It has a 112% chance to grant 3% increased critical strike for 3 seconds, stacking up to 9%. Chain of Branching Volleys. This is your required aspect. And it comes, I believe it comes from like Shadow Plunge in Hazwar. But you can get this on your codex. So all you have to do is just run, grab the aspect, get it in your codex, and you're good to go. This is mandatory for the build to work properly. It increases the damage of arrows that ricochet from barrage from 40% to 120%. Nice max roll there. Barrage's arrows have a 90% chance, max roll there, to split into 2 arrows whenever they ricochet. So this is giving you your room clear, your nice AoE damage, and that coupled with Shadow Imbuement, you're doing a ton of damage. This is really a great aspect, and it's necessary for this build. We're going with Expectant on a ring slot after attacking enemies with the basic skill, which you're doing to generate your combo points. Increase the damage of your next core skill cast within 5 seconds by 7%, all the way up to 30%. So it's some nice damage that you're going to get with Expectant. I would almost say that this is required. Just you want that additional damage. On our other ring, Circle of Elements, gain 26 increased damage to a set of damage types for 7 seconds, and that alternates between 2 sets. You could probably put something else on this slot, actually. This was just a ring that I had found recently. It's not required, it's not mandatory, but I do feel like it helps with the non-physical damage aspect. Okay, for one of our one hands, this is the aspect that I was saying complements our Grasp of Shadow. So the Grasp of Shadow will make your Shadow clone, pinning the lucky hit chance, damaging a vulnerable enemy with a marksman skill. Now this, your Shadow clone, also mimics the Shadow imbuements applied to your skills. So you make a Shadow clone, you have Shadow imbuement, it's going to mimic that. So now your Shadow clone is going to also have Shadow imbuement. Casting an imbuement skill grants your active Shadow clone 11% damage increase for 9 seconds. So after your Shadow clone's applied, apply your Shadow imbuement, and it's going to grant your Shadow clone even more damage increase. So these two complement each other really well. This is something that I personally do. I haven't seen anybody else synergize these two like that. So I think it's unique to this build that I've made. I think that it's unique to something that I personally do. Like I said, it's not required, but I do feel like it does help give you that additional damage. And then the dagger, like I said, it's not required condemnation, but you want to get it as soon as you're able to either effectively farm Vashon or get somebody else to run him for you. So you can pick this up. I got it first drop, first run. It's not that hard to get. Your core skill deals 24% increased damage when spending 3 combo points. That's a low roll. It can go all the way up to 40%. Your basic skills using this weapon have a 30% chance to generate 3 combo points. So whenever you're using Puncture, you have a 30% chance to automatically generate 3 combo points in one. So it's going to help you achieve max combo points, which means that you're able to cast Barrage more often, more effectively. It's just an all-round increase to your damage, to the smoothness of gameplay. You want this as soon as you can get it, but it's not required. It will play without it. Use another dagger, another weapon in place of it. Like I said, it's not mandatory, but you do want to get it as soon as possible. All right, we're going to go, of course, we're using combo points as our specialization. And for our skill tree, we're going to go 1 into Puncture, 1 into Enhanced Puncture, 1 into Fundamental Puncture. We're going to max out Barrage, and like I said, our gloves are giving us 5 ranks to all core skills. So that I feel personally that it helps. It helps a lot having those gloves, and that's why I use those in addition to that other aspect on the weapon, or on the necklace, I mean. So you have Barrage, Enhanced Barrage, and Improved Barrage. So you are applying more vulnerable. Every third cast of Barrage makes enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. So not only are you getting vulnerability chance on Puncture, you're getting it every third cast of Barrage. Then you're going to be going 3 into Sturdy. You want that close damage reduction as a rogue, especially if you're playing hardcore. I would say that it's mandatory. Siphoning strikes to close enemies have up to an 85% chance to heal you for 3% of your maximum life. And then we're going Stutter Step. This is going to increase your movement speed. It's just going to help smooth out the gameplay and transition from pack to pack. Then we're going Shadow Step, Enhanced Shadow Step, and then Discipline Shadow Step. Then we're going to Dash and Enhanced Dash. We're not taking Methodical, and we're not taking Disciplined. We are going to take 3 in Weapon Mastery. We're going to max out your Concealment. enhanced concealment, and then you're going to take subverting concealment. So if you're breaking concealment on a shadow imbued barrage, you're inflicting your shadow imbuement, but you're also going to make them vulnerable. So you have 3 different ways to make enemies vulnerable. Just right off your skills, you have your puncture, every third cast of barrage, and then whenever you break concealment with a skill, which ideally would be barrage. We're going to max out shadow imbuement, enhance shadow imbuement, and then mix shadow imbuement. We're going to take 3 into innervation, up to a 30% chance to gain 8 energy. It just helps keep you topped up on energy, helps smooth the build a little bit. We're going to take 1 point in adrenaline rush. You're always moving, so you want that little bit of extra energy regeneration, but not enough so to where you're going to max this out. Then you're going to take 3 in haste and 3 in impetus. And then, of course, pretty much the staple of all rogue builds, at least range rogue builds, are going to be precision. When you cast a marksman skill, you gain a stack of precision. You gain an additional stack if that skill critically strikes once per cast. When you reach 4 stacks of precision, your next marksman or ultimate core skill is a guaranteed critical strike and deals 50% increased critical strike damage, consuming all stacks of precision. This damage is further increased by 15% of your critical strike damage, which we're sitting at 68.4. It's kind of low, but you can really scale that number up. So that's the skill tree for Paragon right now. I don't have my glyphs maxed out. I'm still leveling. Still trying to get them up to at least rank 15 to get the max radius increase. At rank 15, that's when you're getting the max size of your glyph. Increasing it past rank 15 is not going to increase the size anymore. It's just going to increase some of the attributes on the glyph itself. So we're going up. We're taking prime. Going down from the top to take resilience. And our first slot is going to be canny. And this is the 10.7% non-physical damage with this ring that I was showing earlier, the Circle of Elements. That just helps a little bit on that. You're dealing non-physical damage with it. You're dealing shadow imbuement almost every time, not quite every time, but most of the time you're dealing damage with shadow imbuement. You will be casting barrage without it occasionally, but whenever you really want that damage to count, you're going to be casting it with shadow imbuement, and that's where your non-physical damage is going to come in. Then we're going to be taking, like I said, cannon. You're going to come up to skillful. You're going to come around. You're going to take lawless. If you're playing hardcore, you definitely want that extra armor. It makes all the difference. So that's why we took that survivability aspect. You're going to come up to your next board, and it's going to be cunning stratagem. You're going to rotate it like so. Come around. Your next one's going to be versatility. And like I said, once we get this leveled up, it's going to enhance all of these. All of these nodes. And we're also taking lawless. Again, increased armor, help us get to armor cap. You could probably change versatility out with if you wanted more vulnerable, which I don't feel like you need it, because like I said, you right off the rip, you already have 3 things that are making enemies vulnerable just from your skill tree alone. You could go with efficiency. Chip would probably be a good one for whenever you're not using shadow imbuement. That would help. You could take closer or ranger because you're either going to be using a melee weapon or a ranged weapon for a little bit more damage reduction. That would help. Combat, because you're going to be achieving a lot of critical strikes, and that's going to help you restore some of the energy costs. You could go with that. You could go with Devious. Or Night Stalker, which I had planned on using Night Stalker on the next board. But it may be better to try Night Stalker on this one. So yeah, you could swap out versatility for any one of those would be a good option. Versatility is not by any means required. You're going to come over and up. You're going to grab Dominant, 28% core skill damage, 35% basic skill damage. Then you're going to come up again. You're going to get all res and more armor. Like I said, this being a hardcore playstyle, hardcore build, you want that armor. You want to cap your all resistance. You want it to be as high as possible, even with those armor nodes and the juggernauts that I have. We're sitting at 14,530 armor. So, like I said, this is a fun leveling build. It is very versatile, very fast, quick, and it has the capabilities to either shotgun individual enemies or single target enemies, or it has the capability to almost clear an entire screen, no problem. This is probably the best hardcore rogue build that I've played so far. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of the video. Thanks, guys.